listening to This Week in Big Sky Football, a comprehensive look at all this week's action in Big Sky Football. Now here's your host, Scott Garrard.
All right, welcome on in. It's a playoff edition of This Week in Big Sky Football. We get you set for the first round of the NCAA Division I Football Championship playoffs, kicking off this Saturday across the country. I'm Scott Garrard. We got a lot to get to. First off, a great lineup of guests, including out of the gate, we'll chat with Portland State coach Bruce Barnum. He'll join us in segment 1. Then Southern Utah safety Miles Kilibru in segment number 2. And Craig Haley from Stats will try to make sense of the playoff seedings coming up in segment number 3. But first off, let's take a look at the final weekend of the regular season. Let's start with Southern Utah's win that earns the Thunderbirds their first ever Big Sky title, 49-41 victory. Ammon Olsen went off in this game, throwing for 5 touchdown passes. The Thunderbirds are into the playoffs. They'll travel to Sam Houston State coming up on Saturday. More on that a little bit later on the show. Northern Colorado earned a 40-36 victory over Abilene Christian. Jacob Knipe throws for a pair of touchdowns, rushes for another. Bears pick up a non-conference win over the Wildcats. Northern Colorado finishes the season at 6-5, first ever winning record as a Division I program. Congratulations goes out to them. Montana getting a big victory in the 115th Brawl of the Wild. Grizzlies going to Bozeman, defeat the Bobcats 54-35. Brady Gustafson throwing for 353 yards, 4 touchdowns as the Grizzlies keep the Great Divide Trophy once again with the win. Montana found a way into the playoff field where they'll host South Dakota State at Washington Grizzly Stadium. Weber State with a 35-14 victory over Idaho State as the Wildcats finish the season over 500 for the first time since 2010. Weber leading wire-to-wire in this one. Eric Wilkes rushing for a pair of scores in the final game of the season. UC Davis earning a win over rival Sacramento State in the Causeway Cup. The Aggies with a 35-21 victory over the Hornets. C.J. Spencer throwing for 312 yards and 3 scores. North Dakota earning a win over Cal Poly as the newly minted Fighting Hawks, falling just shy of earning a playoff bid after the 45-21 victory. John Santiago with 3 scores in this one. UND jumped out to a 28-0 lead. They'll finish the season at 7-4 with an FBS win over Wyoming and a road win over Portland State to their credit, but no trip to the playoffs. We'll talk to Craig Haley about that a little bit later on in the program. And finally, Portland State moved its record against ranked teams to 5-0, downing Eastern Washington 34-31 in Cheney. Alex Caressa, another incredible performance. A couple touchdown passes. The Vikings are seeded 6th in the country and earn a bye in the first round of the playoffs. With that, let's go out to the phone and welcome in one of our favorites, Portland State coach Bruce Barnum, to the program. Coach, how are you?
What's going on, Scotty? How are you?
I'm doing well.
Sky, what a weekend, huh?
Crazy weekend in Big Sky football. You know, a little disappointing the conference only got 3 teams into the playoffs, but you get to sit back and wait a week. Is it nice for your team to kind of have a little bit of a breather to try to regroup after a crazy regular season?
You know, it is. We played 9 in a row, Scotty. We had an early bye, which was great then, but not towards the end, you know. So we adjusted on that practice right now, but we're going to practice a couple times this week, and they're going to go eat turkey and give them a little time off. You know, we're trying to make a transition, like a rite of passage into the playoffs. That's how we're treating it.
We talked the first week of the season. Since then, let's see, you've beaten another FBS team. You beat 5 ranked FCS teams. You beat Montana, Montana State, Eastern Washington, and you picked up a long-term contract. It's been a heck of a ride for you.
It's been fun. There's a lot of support. I'm not doing it, Scotty.
Yeah.
I mean, the staff, the players. I mean, I put the puzzle together a few moons ago, and you and I talked about it then, and I've been able to see it come together. It's been fun. But this conference, I mean, each week it's been a blast. Win or lose, this is a great job. You know, I should say great game. You know, after, especially this time of year, awful profession. But college football, how much fun.
Yeah, no doubt about it. You know what's really interesting, too, Coach, is that, you know, the coaching profession, you guys are fighting against each other and trying to pick up wins. And you know, and if you win, you're able to, you know, keep your livelihoods, you know, alive and well. But, you know, so with that, I got to imagine it's a crazy competitive business. But the overall general support that we talked to coaches across the conference, and when they came up with your name, they're like, man, first off, it was he deserves a contract. He deserves a contract. Then you got it. And they're like, man, that couldn't have happened to a better guy. The overall support and respect that you have within the coaches with the conference is incredibly high. That's got to feel good from your perspective.
It does, Scotty, but, treat people right, and it comes back someday. But, it kind of yesterday in an all-conference call, you quit a couple days after because, there was a group of us, on horses and chasing Ed Lamb, and he was headed towards the cliff, and it was like an old Wild West movie. And sure enough, he gets away and gets the ring, the conference championship. And even yesterday on the phone with all those guys, I congratulated him. I'm happy as hell for Ed Lamb. What was it? Oh, where was us? Nothing like that. What a great, this many teams, and a weekend like that to finish it. And that was big time. And that was fun. That's what this game's all about.
Let's talk a little bit more about your team and how they've developed throughout the course of the season. You stumble onto guys like Alex Caressa and David Jones. How has your offense evolved over the course of the season? Because these are just some tremendous playmakers that always find ways to get it done for you.
Well, Alex Caressa, you said what a great addition. We're recruiting towards the end, a guy that wanted to play quarterback. That chance wasn't anywhere else except here. And he came in and he changed things. Automatic leader. He was elected a captain after just showing up in the spring. And he doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't look like much. He doesn't have as big as arm as you or that guy. But somebody taught that young man how to play this game, how to lead, and our guys just gravitated. He's like the Pied Piper. He's fun. And David Jones, just talked to him this morning, all the stuff he's been through here and lack of playing time because, we weren't smart enough to put him a tailback. And, he had some runs again the last week against a good football team, excellent football team. And the Beagles, over there in the red turf, he had a run there in the first half that he split some guys, and his speed paid off. So trying to keep everybody fast, that's what this is about, trying to keep them healthy so you have a chance in November. But those two kids have done great things.
It's interesting, too. We record this show here in Salt Lake City, and I've known the Caressa family for a while up in Cache Valley, up in Logan. And what's interesting is this kid kept being told that you can't play quarterback, He believed he could, and obviously he certainly can. But how do you scout that? How do you, because obviously some players are just born with something that makes them a little bit better on Saturdays than other players. How difficult is that to analyze and scout and to really find those players and bring them in and let them excel?
Well, you wish it was a science, Scotty, but it's not. We watched that film. His highlight film when he was at Snow, and it went on and on and on. And it was Steve Cooper and I sitting there about 11 o'clock at night, and we're trying to change the Big Sky because Barnum just got the gig and yada, yada. And we saw him, and we didn't need a quarterback. But I said, hey, he put it on pause because he was looking at the tight end. And I said, listen, this guy, we got to get this guy on our football team. And you could just tell how he played and how he acted, the plays he was making. And we called him that night, talked to him that night, scheduled the trip that night. He had things going. He had real things going, like marriage and honeymoon and stuff like that. But he ended up coming out here. We signed him a little while after signing date, and then made some tough decisions. I have some good quarterbacks here on campus. He beat him out, and that day was a tough one. But obviously glad I made it now. And all kudos go to Alex Caressa and whoever the hell coached him before he got here.
So, last question, Coach, because I know you're incredibly busy. You face the winner of the Northern Iowa Eastern Illinois game at Providence Park. Obviously, it's going to be exciting to bring playoff football back to Portland. But from a scouting standpoint, are you already putting together film of those two? Or are you going to let them battle each other out and then really get into game plan? How do you work from a coaching staff getting ready for that game in 2 weeks?
Well, it's kind of double duty, Scotty. We're preparing for 2 games.
Yeah.
We're not sure who we're going to play, and you never know in college football. I don't care who's favored. So we'll prepare 2 game plans, and we'll throw one away after those, go against each other on Saturday. But the positive, honestly, is I don't know how to beat. I'm having trouble playing teams that aren't ranked, and all these teams are ranked, I'm pretty sure. So Well, confidence in that, but I need to figure out the other side of it.
There you go.
No, I'm joking. I mean, too good. Now everybody's real. You know, we're playing this good team, the Big Sky. Well, now all of a sudden, now it's real. Everybody's quality. Everybody has stars. You know, and I talked to Bo Baldwin. You know, he talked about scheduling and everything a couple days ago, and you know, he was just reminiscing. And every win's so close, and at 2 inches, and you get a lot fun. Here we go.
Well, Coach, we're excited for you. Keep it rolling throughout the playoffs. We'll be cheering for you, and congratulations on all your success. And we look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Thanks, Scotty. Appreciate everything, brother.
You got it. Bruce Barnum, head coach of Portland State, here on This Week in Big Sky Football. Take a break, come back. We'll announce our final Root Sports Players of the Week, and then we'll also talk with Southern Utah safety Miles Kilibru. That and more straight ahead here on This Week in Big Sky Football.
In the NCAA Division I Football Championship Subdivision, the game is played with perseverance, integrity, passion, character, and sportsmanship. As he works to honor the game and respect his teammates, opponents, officials, and fans, every FCS player grows in his responsibilities as a student and as a member of his campus and community. Dedicated to personal growth and success in the classroom, the NCAA Division I FCS. Every down, every day.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back, working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We're Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football.
All right, welcome back to the final show of the football season for This Week in Big Sky Football. We'll kick off This Week in Big Sky Basketball coming up at the beginning of 2016. I'm your host, Scott Garrard. Remember, you watch every single episode of this show from this season by going to the Big Sky Conference YouTube channel, scrolling down to This Week in Big Sky Football, and then you see my ugly mug on there, and we'll continue to talk about college football. Southern Utah safety Miles Kilibru will join us here in a moment. Before we do that, let's reveal our Root Sports Players of the Week, as Root Sports is the official television partner of the Big Sky Conference. Southern Utah quarterback Ammon Olson, North Dakota running back John Santiago, they're going to share those honors this week as Root Sports Offensive Players of the Week. Olson throwing for 5 touchdown passes in a win over Northern Arizona. Santiago with 3 scores in a win over Cal Poly. Portland State linebacker A.J. Slaughter is your Root Sports Defensive Player of the Week. How about this line? 12 tackles, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and an interception. Portland State goes on to win over Eastern Washington. And finally, Montana kicker Daniel Sullivan is your Root Sports Special Teams Player of the Week. Sullivan, a perfect 4 for 4 on field goals against Montana State in the Brawl of the Wild, as Montana got the 54-35 victory over the Cats. Southern Utah is moving on to the playoffs, and with that, let's welcome in Southern Utah safety Miles Kilibru to the program. Miles, how are you, my man?
Hey, how's it going, man? Thanks for having me. I'm doing great.
Hey, the honor is all ours. Congratulations with that win over Northern Arizona. Southern Utah earns its first ever Big Sky Conference championship. What was it like for you as a player to be a part of that moment?
Oh, man, it was euphoric. As you know, it's my senior year, so it was definitely an exciting moment. And the team is definitely thrilled and looking forward to moving on and playing in this week's game against Sam Houston.
We've had a chance to chat with Ed Lamb on the program. Everybody knows he's a great football mind. However, he seems to have built something down there at Southern Utah that feels like you guys can keep it rolling. I know you're a senior, but I think those guys coming up behind you are going to be able to continue this progress of this program for years to come.
Oh yeah, Coach Lamb. He's a great guy and an even better coach. I say it all the time. And what he does, man, is he recruits a certain type of player to this program, and it's just a player who will work hard and will put his team first. And it's definitely been a great experience to see his vision come together.
We talked to a lot of people throughout the conference, and when we bring up who's some of the hardest hitting players in the Big Sky, your name seems to come up. Do you enjoy having that reputation around the league?
Well, I got to tell you, man, that's one of the biggest reasons why I even play football, man. I just love to hit. It's something I've always loved. I'm definitely a defensive player at heart, and I take a lot of pride in it. So I appreciate that.
You know, the season started out, you guys went to Logan, you played Utah State, and for all intents and purposes had that game won and defensively shut down, an FBS program that has a pretty good offense. Was that where the momentum really started to gain traction for you guys to have a special defensive season?
Well, we knew that we had great players in key spots, and our overall defensive mentality was very cohesive and strong. And our coaches did a very good job of just making sure that we stuck together, especially through those first 2 losses. Man, I mean, even though we played great at Utah State, we ended up going up to South Dakota, and we lost pretty handily there. So after that 0-2 start. I think that's what we needed to really come together as a defense and say, okay, what do we want our identity to be? And that was to be a great defense from that point moving forward. So, under the leadership of Coach Lamb and Coach Warren, our defensive coordinator, we stuck together and just kept moving on through the season.
Your defense leads the nation in turnover margin. You guys are picking up turnovers right and left down there at Southern Utah. What is it about your scheme that allows for that, or is that something the coaches are able to kind of coach up, your guys' ability to take the ball away?
Well, it's a little bit of both. It's something we definitely practice, but we have playmakers all over the field, man. That's why I love this defense so much. And guys play together. It's something that I haven't seen a lot of in my times playing. I've been playing for a while, and this level of just trust and, like I mentioned earlier, just cohesiveness is just it's a sight to behold, man. I definitely tell you that. But we have playmakers all over the field. Not just the seniors and LaShawn and Cowser, but we have and Matt Hawley, but we have Needham and I mean it's just cool, man. It's a cool sight to see for sure.
Well, just including your name with the names that you mentioned, I think you're going to see some names pop up on Sunday here before too long with the kind of talent you have on this defense.
Well, that definitely would be a great honor to both the players and the program as a whole, but. Right now
Too soon,
we're
huh?
just focusing on Sam Houston going down there to Texas, and it's funny because everywhere we go from this point forward is uncharted territory for the program. So it's exciting and can't wait.
So you as you mentioned, you're going to Sam Houston State, a team that got you a couple of years ago in the playoffs. What are your thoughts when you see this team on film, and are you looking forward to a little bit of a revenge game?
Well, Sam Houston on film, they're a great team. Everybody at this point is a great team. Otherwise, they wouldn't be in this bracket in the playoffs. The difference between this time and previously and 2 years ago is just a mindset thing, man. 2 years ago, I would have to say that we were just happy to make it to the playoffs. That was something that had never been done before for our program, and to make it to that level. But now, with our senior leadership, with the coaches, we know we've been there before. So it's something that we can take, we can watch film, we can practice with the mindset of we're not just going there to have fun and enjoy the moment. We're actually going there to compete to win. So I look forward to playing Sam Houston. I mean, they're a great team, and it's definitely going to be a great environment. I know that from last time, so it's going to be a blast.
Well, hey, we appreciate it, Miles. This has been a fun conversation. Keep it rolling this weekend. We look forward to catching up with you again soon.
Hey, yes, sir. Anytime, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Great stuff. Southern Utah safety Miles Kilibru here on This Week in Big Sky Football. We'll take our final break. When we come back, Stats Craig Haley will give us an insight on some national awards as well as what he thought of the playoff bracket. We'll also give you some information on the playoff game schedule and where you can buy tickets. That and more straight ahead on our final segment of the final show of This Week in Big Sky Football.
We play to win, but it's bigger than winning. It's about authenticity, being true to yourself, genuine dreams and a country big enough to fit them, values and hard work, giving your best and giving back. working together, building a tradition bigger than any one of us, and showing the world every day who we are and how we play. We are Big Sky. We are the heart of the American West.
In the NCAA Division I Football Championship Subdivision, the game is played with perseverance, integrity, passion, character, and sportsmanship. As he works to honor the game and respect his teammates, opponents, officials, and fans, every FCS player grows in his responsibilities as a student and as a member of his campus and community. Dedicated to personal growth and success in the classroom, the NCAA Division I FCS. Every down, every day.
Welcome back to This Week in Big Sky Football.
Welcome back to the final segment of This Week in Big Sky Football. I'm Scott Garrard. Hey, before we get things going here in our final segment, big thanks to everybody who helped put this together. Producer Austin Horton, who mixes this thing and puts it all together, as well as executive producer of the show, John Oglesby. All right, let's reveal the playoff schedule for this week. Let's start with Sam Houston State and Southern Utah. That game will kick off at 1:05 Mountain Time from Huntsville, Texas, and that game will be available on ESPN3. Montana and South Dakota State also kicking off at 1:05 Mountain Time from Washington Grizzly Stadium in Missoula. Game available also on ESPN3. And if you'd like to purchase tickets, go to the Adams Center box office or visit GrizTix.com, GRIZTIX.com. And even though Portland State is off this week, not too early to purchase tickets to see the Vikings host either Northern Iowa or Eastern Illinois on December 5th. Go to the Portland State box office online portal or call them to purchase your tickets. Come on, let's do our best to fill up that Providence Park for the Vikings. All right, let's go out to the phones. Welcome in the czar of FCS football. He's stats, Craig Haley. Craig, how you doing, my friend?
Okay, doing real well, Scott. How are you?
I'm doing great. All right, so a lot we need to break down, but let's talk about the team that did not get into the playoffs first. North Dakota looked like they put together a nice resume worth being in the field. Why does a team like Western Illinois sneak in when North Dakota does not?
Well, I mean, obviously you're right. North Dakota finished really strong here this month. I think Western Illinois got in because they played a ridiculously tough schedule. Had a winning record against it. Obviously 6-5, stands out compared to 7-4. But I think Western Illinois challenged itself and did pretty well. I think you can make a case for both teams. At the same time, I think it was time for the committee to get serious about a 6-5 team that goes out and really plays a tough schedule like Western Illinois did.
Mm-hmm. So as far as some of the seeding, Southern Utah goes on the road to take on Sam Houston State. First time an outright Big Sky champ has gone on the road to open the postseason since Montana had to do it in 1998. How do you feel about that? And maybe give us some of the background as to why those teams not necessarily picking up a seed sometimes have to go on the road.
It's a very unfair system, I'll say. 8 seeds, and then after that, the 16 play in the first round. There's no guarantees. They do it regional matchups, and it doesn't matter if it's the 9th best team in the field playing the 12th best team. It's not seeded 1 through 24. Unfortunately, Southern Utah was paired up for a regional matchup, if you will, with Sam Houston, and then it went to whoever bid more to be a host, and that was Sam Houston. So no, it's not a very fair process. I think they need to make changes with this. I mean, it certainly stands out. I mean, even South Dakota State going to Montana, that's kind of crazy how good South Dakota State is, and it's unfair for both of those teams.
I'm sure that the committee is going to look at things like, we want to cut down on travel costs for our teams. Mm-hmm. Is that, and obviously some of these games can be revenue generators for stadiums like, Montana that's going to fill that stadium up. Are those things that are taken into equation?
Yes, very much so. And the schools want to try and keep their travel costs down. Nobody wants an East Coast team to go all the way over to, say, Portland State or vice versa. At the same time, though, you want to have the best field, and I just think they can make adjustments here where you're not sending a Big Sky champion on the road in the first round.
So let's look at those two games specifically, and you tell me who's got the better chance of winning. Montana, as you mentioned, at home with a massive game against South Dakota State, or Southern Utah going on the road to taking on Sam Houston State?
Well, I like both Big Sky teams here. I think Montana has, really come on strong here with Brady back at quarterback, Brady Gustafson, and obviously South Dakota State's a terrific team, and they have some big-time wins on their resume. But I think the Grizz are getting it together at the right time. They'll pack the place. I just think. I think the winner of that game could actually, win the following week too. I mean, they already have against North Dakota State, but they also have experience of going to the Fargo Dome. So I think Montana could have a really deep run here in the playoffs. I think Southern Utah is just as good as Sam Houston. Sam Houston, everybody knows them in the Big Sky from their games with Eastern Washington, but they're probably not quite as strong as they've been. At the same time, Southern Utah can beat you in so many ways, either their defense or their offense getting hot. I just think they have a shot here too on the road.
We talked to Bruce Barnum in our first segment. I did not ask him this question, but I'll ask you this. If you're Bruce Barnum in Portland State, who would you rather see, Northern Iowa or Eastern Illinois?
Probably Eastern Illinois. Both teams, UNI and Eastern Illinois, have FBS transfers at quarterback. I think Northern Iowa is the better team, and they've been on a roll with 5 straight wins in the home playoff game. I think they should be able to get by Eastern Illinois. But I tell you, I mean, if you look at how the pairings are regional, I mean, Portland State is just in a crazy draw with, UNI and Montana, South Dakota State, North Dakota State, all right there in that mix of 6, and throw in Eastern Illinois. It's crazy how tough their draw will be.
National awards voting time. Speaking of Portland State, does Bruce Barnum have a chance of picking up maybe some Coach of the Year hardware?
He's got a very, very good chance. The voting's just getting underway, but I mean he's right up there. To turn around a program like that and to beat 2 FBS teams, to be 5-0 against ranked FCS teams. I mean he deserves strong consideration from every voter. But at the same time, there's other great stories out there too. I mean the Citadel, Charleston Southern, Jacksonville State. John Grass has led the number 1 team for 11 weeks now in the polls. So there's some great candidates, but Bruce is right there.
Craig, we appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, and enjoy the games coming up this weekend. Thanks again for all your help throughout the season.
Sure. Enjoy it, Scott. Take care.
One of the best. Craig Haley from Stats. No one knows FCS football better than that man right there. Well, that's going to do it for us, and what a fun season it's been. Make sure to check out all the Big Sky Conference social media outlets for updated news, notes, and features on each of these teams. Big thanks again, once again, to Austin Horton and John Oglesby. Enjoy the holidays. We'll be back with you in January for This Week in Big Sky basketball, but enjoy the playoffs, folks. Go Big Sky. I'm Scott Garrard here on This Week in Big Sky football.